I've been so ready to get this done. Hello, class. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to do this, Professor Harden. I cannot believe I had to do this presentation, and it finally woke me up about a week ago how pertinent this presentation is. So let me take it to the top. This is well, as I said, it's a pleasure to be able to do this. It's a real reflection. It really is an eye opener even to me. I finally got it. Like I was like, why am I waiting till the end to do this presentation? So God finally punched me in the stomach and said, this is your chance to really say what's really going on in the 305. Um, I'm from Florida, from Miami. Um, Originally born, raised County Dade. I have lived in Jersey, Alabama, and Georgia, and I've seen a lot of the deep systemic issues that's here that goes on in our county, especially in a city called Liberty City, which is like the heart of Miami, which draws a lot of people here for predatory mindsets. They're here because they're thinking. I think like them people on TV that's from Africa and they show all these flies and they know that's not true, but it seems to place empathy on people's minds and make them think that that's what Africa is about. That's the same thing that goes on here in Liberty City. People come here with a misinterpretation of who we are and come with a predatory mindset. I mean, simple things like um, picking mangoes, paying rent and stuff has now tremendously gone out the skyrocket, which I will discuss as we go on. Family is important. This is my husband. We was in Bahamas a couple of months ago. He was vibing, enjoying his pina colada, and my grandson and my son and I'm family is very important if you are into social work because if you can't solve issues within the family, bridge gaps, whether it's intergenerational, whether it's classism, whether it's just solving simple everyday problems, what's the purpose of being a social worker if you can't handle because you may think your spouse might think one thing and you think it's so simple and find out that it really wasn't that simple. So we have to pay attention. And then when it comes to communicating with our children, my research is interest is in poverty and underserved communities and how systemic racism is a big impact in our communities, especially Liberty City. As I said earlier, people come with a predatory mindset, thinking everybody's incompetent or not capable of rising to certain levels. And also what leads to the homelessness, especially after they've gotten everything they want from seniors and putting us in categories and end up just throwing you to the streets. So that's one of my interests of wondering why certain things happen and talk about how housing first should be from the youth to the seniors. Here are some stats when it comes to our Liberty City community, where you see the disparities, the big disparities in housing costs. Like when it's 62% of households, they spending more than 30% of their income. It seems like you work just to pay rent. And that seemed to be a big issue here with the influx of everybody coming here chasing the beaches and chasing the beaches and the sun. So it makes our rent where you would pay $500 more or something you would pay $500 for now is going for $2,000 and $3,000 because people want to say I'm here in Miami, I'm in Dade County, or I'm on South Beach, whatever they reasons for coming is usually not realistic here, and it's creating so much disparity, gaps, and inequality when it comes to housing, when it comes to employment, as well as in the health world. Okay, you see employment when it comes to the Florida Department of Health, 57% of the people employed are Hispanic and only 15% are African American. You also see in the police department, you will see it's about 54% Hispanic polices that are monitoring our cities, Liberty City area particularly, only 19% might be Black. So you have big disparity gaps. So guess what that create? That create classism, separatism, and then people who's entitled and narcissists because they figure if they have certain positions, they can mistreat you. So that's what you see with that. And you come to the Dade County school system. Here you have Dade County School, where you have 49% is white and 30% Hispanic, and only 13% is black when it comes to teachers and people who teaching our children. So there again, you got disparities where why would they care about the value of a child's well-being if they feel like they can't relate to you? They just have a job and happy to have a job. For some reason, I believe that certain jobs, when people are not from the neighborhood of the country, they take that as a validation of being here in the US and being here in Florida. Um, as I said earlier about our rental properties from 2000, how much rent was 600 and something dollars. Now in current, it's like $2 or $3,000 for a raggedy little hole in the wall property. So we say that it's not a problem when you have an influx of people chasing a dream and they come here to Miami for whatever reasons. And I guess with Pitbull want to say he the 305, hit, that's not a realistic picture of 305. This is what's really going on in 305 because there's so much diversity in this place. It creates chaos, it creates separatism, it creates classism, it creates savagery. What I call savagery, meaning people by any means necessary, they want what they want and not even thinking about the consequence, like going shopping. So simple to just go shopping, and now you have people who are shop with two, three, four buggies of stuff that you could usually get with no problem. So now you have to shop with the mindset of even though you don't need it, you need to go ahead and get it because if you go shopping when it's time to go shopping, you're not going to find the product. We're here in Liberty City, especially in Liberty City, you have, I think, like a can of chicken, can of soup, a super can of chicken soup, empty, a billion rats trying to get in that one can. That's how crowded we are here in Miami. Traffic is horrendous, even when it's the weekend or late at night, it's still a bunch of traffic. So, also with businesses, that influx of black businesses that have grown, it's a whole lot of businesses that have grown, is developed within our in our community. But are we really getting funded? It seemed like I believe here in Miami, where I put the data to, these are companies that are supposed to help businesses, support businesses with grants, funding, and things they need, equipment. We applied for Miami Bayside Grant Foundation, which is one of the presentations here. And when we applied for it, we did all the shenanigans. We did everything. I'm gonna show you the little video of it. And we did everything, and still we didn't get the funds. That's the video of the presentation, which I'm not gonna show you. We did the whole presentation, showed the employees and everything, and still we didn't get the $10,000. So leading me to think that I think a lot of these entities, they'll say they help and support black businesses, but they really not. They just need your data to keep getting their federal funding. So we have that. You have MD as well, Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, which also, again, we applied for that, and we still didn't get the actual grant. And so it say thank you. Unfortunately, you your application as a minority small business did not meet the standard. I could give you tons and tons and tons of letters, but I'm not going to do that. So, but I just want to show you proof that even though we apply for certain things, so now you're stuck with a business with the car wash, that mobile detail service. I married into that. My husband was just operating, so I put it in structure that we're supposed to with the mindset of, well, you're a black business, you're a woman-owned minority business, and none of that seems to apply. So now you have the expenses of a business, and then it creates division, it creates anger because you see people who are not from the neighborhood that benefits from the neighborhood, who gets the resources, who gets what they say they're going to give to the people who are building or from the neighborhood. So that's one of the biggest issues. Now, what's the next one? Where am I now? I took a leap of faith to Howard. The reason why I took a leap of faith to Howard is because I feel like Howard give a well-rounded understanding of black and brown people. It's okay to be who you are, but in some circumstances, like here in a bilingual city where there are so many different cultures, it's like it's a crime to be black. So now when you assess certain things, when you see certain things others may not see, or you diagnose certain things, it's because of the things that you've already seen. They won't see it. For example, I had applied one time for a university, Barry, and they gave a simple scenario for us to assess. And I can't go into that because I don't have the time. But the way I gave the diagnosis, I clearly was, oh no, we don't have time for that. That's that black stuff. It was during the time Black Lives Matter. How about 2 weeks later, somebody introduced a doctor from that board to my organization, and ended up he worked with the organization, and 4 years later I was able to slap him in the face with that same situation. I say, now that go your analysis on what you told me I couldn't get into Barry for. He don't even know I'm here at Howard because I didn't want to rub in his face that there's just certain things certain people won't see. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You can make a law for a snake being in the yard, but you could say, well, I never seen no snakes. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So that's why we need to be more sensitive. But when it comes to culture competency and inclusion, my passion is writing. I wrote to be able to give understanding and clarity of issues that we seem to be tabooish about. When it comes to certain topics, like I've worked in the HIV field for over 15 years. I didn't start out a journey to work with HIV. I figured I was teaching about using your body recklessly, and I just throwed HIV in it, and it drawed the CDC, it drawed a lot of the HIV healthcare field and people who are positive towards this particular production, and it ended up becoming a movement. So then I had to get ostracized about I'm HIV positive. I have to be if I'm working with it. I even went to the Department of Health and asked for help, and they gave me condoms instead of giving me capital. And I ended up turning the condoms into a whole business. So now I'm known around the world as the condom lady. Even though it was a racist tactic, it ended up turning out for your good. So you have to realize that rejection can also be revelation. Here are some of the scripts that I've written. Um, and the reason, and being that I've written all these scripts, you see the dates 2004, 2002. These are the days or the year that it was copywritten. 2005. I have so many scripts, but yet I have never been funded or rewarded for my intellectual properties. So that again tells you what's really going on systemically when you're in Dade County, especially Liberty City. So I mean, so far so good. Um, Also, here are things with what I've actually done and haven't had the support, like the typical people when they say, "Oh, if you do it, if you believe in yourself, you'll get the monies." These are tickets. If you see the dates of the tickets, 2011, 2016, 2009, or 2006. These are events from decades ago to current. I just had an event Saturday, and I just had one the Saturday before. That's one of my published books. I've been doing events for years without any support, without any of the backing. But yet, we say that there's no such thing as systemic racism in our country. Um, why Howard? Well, what Howard has taught me is that I need more than passion. I need to know how to say certain things rather than saying it in colloquialism. So I thank God for being able to get some of the scientific terms of how to say and address certain things, especially when it comes to your biopsychosocial and when it comes to dealing with certain methods and interventions. I feel like that if you get the language, like for example, the Maslow theory, I've been saying for hundreds of years, if we all had what we needed, we wouldn't have no issue. But nobody heard that. But if you put it in a Maslow theory term, now people will pay more attention to it. So that's what I really learned and loved about my skills being here at Howard. And if you see this next slide, why social work? Look at. Let me move this out the way. This picture is very profound because when you're speaking, when you're presenting, when you're really addressing major issues, as you see how profound that picture says, that person not paying attention. Think about billions of people who, when you're speaking about certain topics or you're dealing with certain things and you really pitching your heart out, and people are not paying attention. So that's one another reason why I picked Howard. I feel like being here in Miami exposed me to a lot of things when it came to poverty, when it comes to drug addictions and systemic neglect. That's what builds your resilience. I don't know, your resilience can't be purchased. It has to be built. So being these challenges that God has allowed me to overcome through my chasing the image of writing and chasing in production, I feel like this is what really my heart was, social work, and I just didn't know the understanding of it. So I will bring empathy, leadership, lived experience to be able to sympathize with some of the issues that some of our people are dealing with as of today. And as I talk about your Black perspective, my Black perspective again will be lived experience, intergenerational, bringing together people from different ages, different walks of life, equity, inclusion, and diversity inclusion. My event I just had this Saturday, I had somebody speaking Creole and I had somebody speaking in Spanish. I think as an artist, you not just to deal with the people who you look like, or to sound like. You need to be able to see who can figure it out. I'm even having blind people participate in something I have coming up in December. So I think that's the job of social work. And you have that's where your affirmation will come from. So with that, my core values, oh my God, my core values is just being the things that God has allowed me to overcome. And being that it has allowed me to overcome certain things, I believe social work aligns with the NSAW, the Code of Social Justice, and the work of every person. Everybody matters. So that's my presentation for tonight. And my 10 years. It's hard for me to say what I'll be doing in 5 or 10 years because I've been on this journey for so long and still haven't gotten the clinic, still haven't got the buildings to be able to house the people who need help. So, but my goal is to have a building and to have a theater and to have apartment buildings where I can house people and give them a chance and assess them and link them to the perfect, whatever's available for them, whether they need funding so they get their disability or whatever, or their medications, or if they need housing. That's the overall goal. And at the end, my picture with Hosea Williams when I went to Mr. John Lewis' funeral, but it was too packed. We couldn't get in. So we went to see the grave, and that's Hosea Williams. And if you see the picture up close, it will say unbossed and unbought. And that's the conclusion. How would you know? Thank y'all very much. Irvington. Yes. Okay. Any questions? Yeah. I do have a background. My bachelor's is in criminal justice, And I remember when I got ready to go take the LSAT, and I didn't know the Lord like I know him now. And I heard this voice say, if you take this test, you will not be able to speak. I did not know I was going to be who I am today. I thought I was going to be able to put crooked cops and crooked judges in jail, but I guess I wouldn't be alive. And God allowed me to do it through theater. And that's where the idea came for me to pitch stuff on the stage. So once you put it out there, like we did the TPS thing this weekend, even though it was supposed to be a concert, I made it transition. That's the whole purpose of the entertainment. It's not what you think you're coming for, it's really coming for a message to elevate, set the captives free. Thank y'all. Woo! It's over.